Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another broadcast of The Weekly with me, Neff. Please subscribe to the channel, share this video with a couple of family members, friends, and colleagues. I appreciate the support. As everyone knows, I'm dealing with some copyright strike issues right now. So essentially, my channel is being shadow banned, so I definitely appreciate the support if you decide to share the video. Once again, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications to stay updated. Want to talk about the film Him. Just watched the movie, and I have to say, pretty solid work. I also have to say, I feel there's a concerted effort to hamper the success of this film and basically do what YouTube is doing to me, shadow ban the content. We talked about some of the reviews early. I didn't go into specific details. I wasn't trying to spoil anything for myself. As you guys know, I like to keep the spoilers down to a minimum. Don't even really watch trailers anymore. I'll watch a teaser or maybe one official trailer if the teaser doesn't suffice in my opinion. But after that, I pretty much stay offline. And so with this film, I was pretty much staying offline. I didn't watch the second trailer for the film. The only trailer I watched was the first trailer they officially put out for this film. Everything else, I got nothing on it. As I've talked about multiple times, I do have the script for this film. It was titled GOAT originally, and then it changed to Him. I think that might have been when Monkey Paw Productions bought the rights to the project from Zach Akers and Skip Bronke. Obviously, Justin Tipping is the director. I do think he did some writing duties as well to help mold the film. But like I said, I have reason to believe that people are trying to just tarnish the film and mess up the perception of the film so that nobody watches it. In my theater, I want to say it was less than 20 to 25 people. This is a big theater with over 150 seats, so that tells you a lot. Like I said, on Rotten Tomatoes, when I posted the first scores there, was sitting at a 33%. I think that percentage has dropped quite a bit to something in like about the 27% to 28% range. When it came out for the popcorn meter, that is the audience, right? Your average audience goer. It was in the 60s, and now I think it's somewhere in the 50s. I want to say high 50s, right? And I'm going to put that on the screen right now for you. And so plenty of reviews there, over 500 reviews from the audience, the movie-going audience that is, and I see some mixed reviews, right? I see some praise, I see some people that didn't understand it, didn't like it, but I will let you guys know right now, I definitely recommend this film. This film did everything that I wanted it to do, right? We're exposing certain things here, certain things that people are not comfortable with. I think there are 3 reasons why this film may not perform well in theater. First reason, I might have touched on this before in the last video. First reason is marketing could have been a little better before you got to the week of the film coming out. A part of the marketing is the embargo lift. I thought the embargo lift was a bit late. It literally came out on, I want to say, Wednesday. The film came out on Thursday. Usually not a good sign when a studio decides to release that embargo and lift that embargo for reviews to hit the web about 24 hours before. You want to see that embargo lift, I want to say at least a week, at minimum a week. We've seen embargoes lift at least a month early. I think that's a bit premature, but I would say at least a week or 2 before the film releases just to get some type of buzz going. Obviously, positive is what you would like to see, but when you lift that embargo, you're allowing yourself to be judged on the product that you are putting forth in front of the audience. That would be the regular audience and the critics. The critics really going to see this stuff first. They're the ones that are part of the publications like The Hollywood Reporter, Variety, The Direct, etc. And so with this film, like I said, you know how I feel about it. I think this film is a good film overall. You have Marlon Wayans obviously starring in this film. You have Tyriq Withers starring in this film. He's a new up-and-comer. Let me not get too crazy with going into this film yet, though, right? That was my first theory. Like I said, my first theory is the film is not going to connect at this point because, like I said, the marketing was a little lackluster upon the release. The second theory is Marlon Wayans is in this film, and he's been promoted heavily in this film. When you see Marlon Wayans, he is known as a comedian, a funny person. In films, he's usually in comedies. He's just a funny guy overall. And so if you see him on a poster with Tyriq Withers, this is an actor that you're not even familiar with. He's a new up-and-comer, and you have Marlon Wayans. You look at that poster and you say, okay, I see the tone is dark, but it's Marlon Wayans. Is this a comedy? I'm confused, right? You're not even looking at the genre. You're just looking at the poster. I think that is another reason this film is confusing a lot of the audience. The third reason is I think this film is touching a subject matter that people hold dear to them. Like I said, I think I stated this before. When you're talking about sports, some people, I'd say most Americans, would probably akin to sports with something as close to religion for them. You don't want to be able to shake their foundation mentally and psychologically, and I feel like this film does that. If you watch the first trailer, you're already understanding what you are going to get with this film. It's kind of, if you know type moment. I didn't even watch the second trailer. I'm sure it's even more in depth with the symbolism, the imagery, and letting you know what you're going to get in this film. That's one reason why I chose not to watch it. And so, like I said, just based off that first trailer, I was already understanding what was going to go on with this film. And I'm open-minded about this subject. These are things that I talk about to colleagues all the time. You see certain things in media. These are things that are in your face but cloaked at the same time. A lot of imagery, a lot of symbolism, a lot of numerology. There's a lot of signs there that are coded, and if you're not paying attention, these things will go over your head. One, you'll just say, hey, not that important to me, or you'll say, hey, it's just entertainment. But I feel like this film really taps into what I was expecting. And so I like this film because it did almost everything that I wanted it to do. Not a perfect film, but a film that's good for its genre. And really, if I have to compare it to anything, this is really like a niche genre, a psychological thriller that deals with occult, almost Freemasonic type aspects, right? That type of genre. So it's a genre inside a genre. I would say this film is basically the best psychological thriller of this type since Eyes Wide Shut. That's what I'd compare it to. I'd say this film is even better than that, to be quite honest. When you talk about, like I said, that subgenre, which is extremely niche, you don't see these films really get through the cracks like that. And I do have theories about Jordan Peele, to be quite honest, that I could go into. Unlike Weapons, this film lets you know what you're getting up front. Weapons was coding things in front of you, and a lot of people don't understand the symbolism. So if you don't understand the symbolism, there's a lot of things that you're just not going to catch. You don't know what you don't know. But this film, there was none of that. I'd almost say, and even talking to some people, that this film is almost so in your face that it could shake some people mentally. They're not expecting it to be so heavy-handed with it, but that's what I loved about this film. It's so heavy-handed. Almost wonder how it got through the cracks, but also I do know why it got through the cracks, right? A lot of these executives in Hollywood, the guys that fund projects, green light projects, you think these guys are watching these movies? You think they have committees watching these movies before they get released? No. Jordan Peele has Monkey Paw Productions. He still has a name that is relevant in Hollywood, even though it is dwindling. I have a reason to believe he is being kind of shut down in a sense. Could be some things behind the scenes that, of course, we're not going to know about, but I do have a reason to believe that he has been basically demoted and Zach Cregger has been promoted. His film Weapons, extremely Freemasonic, a lot of symbolism there, a lot of covert symbolism that a lot of people did not catch. And now this guy's in the $20 million club, and his friend died some strange, lazy death that they tried to say it was, and now he dedicates Weapons to his friend, and then it's super Freemasonic in its own right. Very odd. With this film, I'm getting everything that I knew I was going to get. So I'm not really being baited and switched on here. This is what I appreciate about the film. I'd say probably the second act of the film is my favorite part of the film. There is a scene where Julia Fox, she's playing a specific character in the film. She mentions the rituals, the parties, the weird rituals that the owners attend and the things that go on behind that. And so I really loved that part. That's when they were really getting deep with it. The fact that they would even say something like that on screen and then show you the aftermath of that is something that was really interesting to me. And I thought they took a lot of risk there. The first part of the film was pretty good. The third act was pretty good as well. That's really where you had, I would say, the climax of the film, right? It's the climax and the conclusion. You get the resolution of the film, which I thought was fitting. This is a film that I must say, it doesn't need a sequel. I think it's a great standalone. I don't think there's nothing that you need to follow up. I don't think it opens itself up to a follow-up, and I respect that, honestly. I think Skip Bronke, Zach Akers, and Justin Tipping, I think they did a good job with this film, working together. Once again, working together. That's one thing I've criticized Jordan Peele on. He has Get Out, which I think is a really good film. He has Us, which is an okay film, and Nope, which I think was a bad film. And I think, the fact that he writes, produces, and directs, I think it's a lot for somebody, right? And I do believe that he's almost becoming an M. Night Shyamalan in a sense, to whereas he's doing all this work here, and he's not talking to enough people, right? You need to get a lot of people involved. This is collaborative. Being creative is collaborative. You can do a lot on your own, but when you get different minds involved, you get to bounce ideas, and maybe you have a solution to a problem that might not be the correct solution. It's your solution, which is subjective, but maybe someone might see it a different way, and I think that perspective lends to a better opportunity to land, and I feel like Jordan Peele has not landed well in his last couple films, to be quite honest. I know he's having issues writing his fourth film and apparently has been completely taken off the slate at Universal, which is very interesting to me. And it goes into my theory that he's been demoted in Hollywood and someone else has been elevated in his place and almost seemingly overnight. Very interesting to talk about that. I might do a whole video on just how Jordan Peele has kind of been lost when it comes into being in favor with certain Hollywood elites. What do we got? We have the checkered floors, right? You already know what that's about. Go look into that. I don't have to explain that. You have that imagery there. You have the triangles everywhere. You have the triangle with the circle in the middle. We talked about that, right? The snake eating itself. You see that in Weapons when it opens up the intro. It's all blue with the triangle with the circle in the middle. You see that in him quite a bit. And so there's some imagery right there for you. Like I said, everything about this film did what I needed it to do. When it's sending you that message, it's a message. If you don't understand that message, you have to do more research. I do feel like this is a film that makes people uncomfortable. That's why you might see some people being confused by it. Maybe some people being willfully ignorant and just saying, you know what, I don't like it. They can't articulate why they don't like it, though. And so, these are opinions that are subjective. And everybody has their reason for not liking the film. If you do comment on my video, please let me know if you did watch this film, if you know anything about this film and what you thought about this film. I want to hear some opinions on this film, and I'd like to go back and forth with some people because my perspective might be a little different, right? Not to look down on people, but I know a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. I know how everything really operates, and I'm open to it. I don't shut the door on things that might seem a little odd or things that seem a little outlandish because more than likely, we're thinking this for a reason. I know there are people that see things like me, and they question it. Like, what's that about? Why is that there? Why are things going this particular way? There's nothing wrong with questioning things and then getting an answer, right? The answer could be there, the answer could not be there. But I do think it's good to always ask questions, right? There's a lot of things going on in the world, and it's just a movie, but I think it's more than a movie, and I've said that in a couple comments. I remember I commented on the trailer, and I said a lot of people will pass this off as entertainment, but, we know it's not just entertainment. There's more to it. And so I thought Marlon Wayans did good. I thought Julia Fox in the small supporting role that she had did pretty decent. Julia Fox isn't the best actress, but she's okay enough. Tyriq Withers, he did good in his role. Obviously, I think Marlon's carrying it. He's carrying it even though Tyriq is the star here. And so it's kind of like a big brother thing, right? Tyriq is new. Marlon's been around. He's been around in Hollywood. His whole family's been successful in Hollywood. And so he's bringing him under his wing. And I do like to see that amongst, African-American people and stuff like that, black people in America and in Hollywood. And, Hollywood's a strange place, man. A lot of stuff going on there, a lot of dark, satanic, demonic stuff that goes on in Hollywood. You don't really see these things right in front of you because it's not part of their agenda. They show you what they want to show you. When you start peeling back the layers, you start to see all these weird irregularities, weird things that just aren't coincidence, right? And all this stuff has been documented, but it all depends on if you dig to do the research and if you're really awake. If you're not awake, you'll just keep going on about your life. And there are some people like that, but like I said, this movie's a good movie. I give it a 7.5 out of 10, and I recommend it. 2 thumbs up, him. Not the best movie, but it did do what I wanted it to do. I've talked about Jordan Peele quite a bit. If it's a Jordan Peele movie, this is produced by Jordan Peele, right? He didn't write it. He didn't direct it. I can see that he's kind of, shadowing the project, right? He's kind of, ghost producing it or just producing it in its entirety. But it's not a Jordan Peele movie. This is why I watched the movie to begin with, not to keep going in on Jordan Peele. I'd like to see him be successful. But like I said, I want him to stick the landing a little more. Hopefully he can get that 4th project written. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. He's got to get my trust back. But I hope the best for Jordan Peele. If he wants to get other creatives under Monkey Paw Productions that make good products and he wants to fund that and he wants to go in and pitch to the big studios, I'm all for that too because his name is still successful. It's tied to something that is successful. But like I said, with the reviews out there, I think they're going to try to stifle this film's box office, and it most likely will be looked at as a film that's not going to make money, but the film is good. And I think people should go watch the film. Have an open mind about it, though. The film runs about an hour and 36 minutes, so it's a breeze. It's not that bad. It almost kind of feels like it's longer than an hour and 30 minutes, though. I'm not going to say the pacing is the worst. It is kind of broken down in chapters, different chapters, and I really appreciated that, right? It's broken down throughout the week, so you get day 1, day 2, day 3, etc., until you get to the end of the film, right? And so I did like how they broke it down like that, but there's definitely some grotesque scenes. The dialogue is kind of gnarly at some points in time, some surprising dialogue that you're not expecting. And like I said, I don't know how to say this without spoilers, right? just go in with an open mind and understand there are things that go on behind the scenes that people do not understand, behind the curtain, right? The curtain, the illusion that you see on your TV screens. There's more to it. Once again, what Marlon Wayans says, what are you willing to sacrifice? There's a twist at the end of the movie, too, that I really did appreciate, and I thought that was cool. I actually thought this movie did stick the landing, to be honest. And once you stick the landing in a film, that's the nice bow and a ribbon on top. I hate watching a film where everything is going well and then you watch the end and you're like, what'd they do there in the last 10 minutes? What was that about? Together was a film that was like that. That's from Neon Pictures. I thought that film was pretty decent film. It was like mid-sixes to me, but the end, I had to bring it down, and I was just like, man, they just didn't stick that there. They could have cut that 10 minutes off the back end, which kind of messed up the movie for me, and you'd say, oh, well, it's only 10 minutes, but yes, 10 minutes can make a huge difference in a film. Doesn't seem that significant, but man, there's a lot of films like you see director's cuts, and it could be more than 10 minutes. It could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes. They manipulate that. They take scenes out. It changes the whole perception of a film and how you even digest the film. And so, like I said there, this film did what it needed to do at the end of the film, which I thought was very cool. It was a cool payoff, to be honest, right? Is Tyriq Withers, Cameron Cage, going to be succumbed by evil, or is he going to see the light and be the man that he's really supposed to be, right? Stick to his foundation. Stick to the teachings and the direction of the real God, right? And so I don't know if you're religious or spiritual, anything like that. Don't really judge anybody, but I'm definitely into Jesus Christ and God. And so there's a lot of things where this character is compromised, but at the end, I feel like even with being compromised, he got what he needed at the end to walk away and say, you know what? I did the right thing. And that is the twisted aspect of the film. He's being compromised in multiple ways, but still in the end, he still makes the right choice. So is he still compromised even though he made a bunch of bad choices, even though he was manipulated into making these choices because of the idolism of Marlon Wayans? Idolism, I don't even know I made that word up, right? Idolization of Marlon Wayans' character, right? I believe Isaiah White, known as the GOAT, right? Known as him, he's football. And so that was really cool too. But overall, like I said, 7.5 out of 10, ladies and gents. Go watch this film. Let me know what you think about this film. I need more people to go watch this film and be honest about it. No scaredy cats. No people dismissing things. Have an open mind when you watch this stuff. There's a lot of things that people don't know about in this big, wide world. And so I recommend him 100%. Good job to Skip Bronke, Zach Akers. What do we got? Justin Tipping, Jordan Peele, Marlon Wayans, Tyriq Withers, Julia Fox, and everybody that was a part of the film. Definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting film. Go watch it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Ring the bell for notifications, and be safe. It's Neff signing off.